शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Sri Harinam series. We have been discussing about the 10 offenses to the holy name. After Bhaktivinoda Thakur has established what is Nama Tattva and what are the symptoms of one who is taking the Nam. If these symptoms are not manifesting, then it's a clear indication that one is committing aparadh. So what are those aparadhs? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in essence, in fact, you can say, is discussing each of these offenses. And we have discussed up till now the first, second, and the third offense. Satam Lingam and Anya Devata, considering the demigods headed by Shiva and all to be equal or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. And the third is Guru Avadya. So today we will discuss the fourth offense to the holy name. Shastra Ninda Paryate Avashya Parityaga. The activity of blaspheming authentic scriptures should be abandoned. Such Shastra Ninda. There is Sadhu Ninda, there is Shastra Ninda. Now, one might think, Array, we are devotees. We are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. We will never condemn the Shastra. So, how do we commit this offense then? There's no question that we might commit this offense, such a Shastra Nindan. So can anyone tell how can one commit this offense of Shastra Nindanam as devotees? Lakshmi Narasimhan Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I might be wrong, but devotees are under the constant impression to criticize the Karma Kanda sections of the Vedas, maybe. Since we are
Yeah,
not practicing them, so we might have that opinion that those are inferior, so we might criticize.
yeah. So devotees might criticize the karma kanda portion of the scriptures, which is meant for some other adhikaris, and we might criticize. That's one way. And again, in a subtle way, how can we commit this offense? We might directly criticize the karma kanda portion of the Vedas, yes. But again, that also doesn't happen sometimes. It happens in a little indirect way. You're very close to the answer. Uh, Lakshmi Narasimha Prabhuji, how we can commit offense more.
I'm just thinking, Prabhuji.
We might commit the offense of those who are following the karma kanda portion of the Vedas.
Okay.
Oh, this person is, he's a karma kandi. So indirectly, you're criticizing the karma kanda portion of the Vedas also. So that's how we have to be very careful about this offense. We'll come to it in detail. Anadi Veda Shastra, oh, Tad Anugata Smriti Shastra, Yahate भागवत धर्म जाना याया से शास्त्र के निंदा करिले हरि नाम अपराध होय. If one blasphemes the scriptures, a shastra ninda karile, the beginningless Vedic scriptures, Anadi Veda Shastra, and the Smriti scriptures that follow them, O Tad Anugata Smriti Shastra, from which it is possible to know about Bhagavad Dharma. Yahate Bhagavad Dharma Jana, an offense to the holy name of Lord Hari is committed. Hari Nama Hari Aparada Hoy. So if once criticizes the Shruti Shastras, which are beginningless, and following the Shruti Shastra, the composition of the Smriti Shastras, by which we can understand Bhagavad Dharma, then we are committing offense to the holy name. Now, hear this story very, very carefully, and I am going to ask you a question based on this. In a short work named Mani Manjari by Narayan Pandit, a junior contemporary and follower of Madhvacharya. So Narayan Pandit is a contemporary and follower of Madhvacharya. There is an account in its 5th chapter of an incident related to this point, an incident that took place during the days prior to the appearance of Shankaracharya, when much of India was under the control of militant Buddhists. They were militant Buddhists. They were forcibly, converting people into Buddhism. So there is a true historical account before Shankaracharya's appearance. What is that account? Let us hear. During those days of crisis, one Kumara Bhatta had disguised himself as a Buddhist in order to learn its philosophy from a Buddhist, in order to refute it later. So this was the purpose with which Kumara Bhatta had joined the Buddhist camp, so they can study the Buddhist philosophy and later on refute it. In fact, during Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time, when he and his father, especially he was staying here in Jagannath Puri, and he used to frequent the Shankaracharya Mutt, the Govardhan Mutt, which is the one of the quarters, the eastern quarters of the Shankaracharya's 4 places where he established the Govardhan Mutt. And he used to sit in their library and study the Mayavad philosophy. And all these Shankarites were thinking, oh, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, such a great, powerful scholar. He's studying, Mayavad philosophy. Maybe he's our follower. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was sitting and studying the Mayavad philosophy so that he can later on refute. But this Kumar Bhatta, during that militant time, he had to disguise himself as a Buddhist. When he was on the roof of a palace while massaging his Buddhist teacher with oil, he heard the teacher blaspheme the Vedas. because Buddhist is Nasik Dharma, it is not Astik. They don't have faith in the Vedas. So this teacher was blaspheming the Vedas. His heart burning, Kumara's eyes shed hot tears that fell on the teacher, who immediately detected this student's factual devotion to and faith in the Vedas. He immediately came to know that this student has devotion to the Vedas. The Buddhist said that this student was a Buddhist only in disguise and ordered that he be killed. Kumara Bhatta then asserted that if the Veda is entirely true, he would not die and jumped off the roof of the palace. He just jumped. He had so much faith. He just jumped that if the Veda is entirely true, he will not die. One of his eyes was pierced by a nail, but he was alive. So one of his eyes was pierced by a nail. A voice from the sky then told Kumar Bhatta, you lost one eye because you verbally doubted the validity of the Vedas. So why did he lose? He said, nothing will happen to me. But still he lost one eye. And why he lost that eye? The voice from the sky spoke. You lost because you verbally doubted the validity of the Vedas. A practitioner of the chanting of the holy names is expected to possess such axiomatic faith in the Vedic scriptures in order to succeed in chanting Hare Krishna. So this is the kind of faith is required in the statements of the Shastras. Mani Manjari was published in Bengali script by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, along with a Bengali translation during his manifest presence. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur found it so important that he translated the Mani Manjari into Bengali with a Bengali translation. So now my question is, why did still Kumara Bhatta lose one of his eye? Although here the answer is there, but he had faith in the Vedas. But what was wrong that that he had to lose one eye? What is the reason? Anyone think about it? One hand has been raised. Okay, Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji. I'll just try, Prabhuji. It's a guess. He lost one eye because he didn't refuse his guru and he didn't prove the futility of his guru's
He was
belief.
supposed to be killed by that camp and he just jumped from the palace. And if the Vedas are true, nothing will happen to me. But still something happened to him. He lost his eye and a voice spoke. You lost eye because you verbally doubted the validity of the Vedas. It is saying. So how did he really doubt the Vedas? Yes, Lakshmi Narasimhan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It's maybe because of the word used if. He should have
Yes.
said the Vedas are true, so nothing would happen to me.
Yes. That is the point. You can see if this if statement is there, na, that means he doubted of the validity of the Vedic knowledge. Yadi. Yadi means, that you still have some doubt. Eva means, certainly. So because he said Yadi, that means, because he partially doubted, he verbally doubted the validity of the Vedas, he lost one eye. Now, I'm just going to give you one example, from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now, you must have heard this. Eka Krishna Name Kare Sarva Papashoy Navida Bhakti Purna Nama Hoita Hoy. Eka Krishna Name Kare Sarva Papashoy. One holy name of Krishna, can destroy, relieve person from all the sinful reactions. Now I don't know about all the audience here. I don't feel that I'm free from sinful reactions. You know, Kleshagni has happened. I'm still not sure about it. I'm suffering the threefold miseries. I've been taking the name since last 20 years, but here it is said, Eka Krishna Nam, Sarva Papa Shaya. Now, when I first time read this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I really doubted, how is it possible? Is this statement, is this Vedic statement true? So what is your answer about it? When Chaitanya Charitamrita, this verse is saying, Eka Krishna Nama, Loy, Hare, Sarva Papa Shaya. How do you understand this statement? What's your answer? What else? Nadia Chaitanya Prabhuji. Yes.
Dandavat Pranam.
Nadia is not at all clear. Prashant Shambar Prabhuji. Yes, Prashant Shambar Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, if we are taking Shuddhanam, pure chanting of holy names purely, then all the sins will be eradicated. But we are still struggling with Namaparad stage or the maybe few Namabhas stage.
Yeah. Actually, it's not even Shuddhanam. It is Namabhas.
Okay. Yeah.
Namabhas. It is Namabhas. And Prabhupada, in the purport of the sea, as far as being free from all sinful reaction by chanting the holy name only once, Ekana, one must chant the holy name without committing any offenses. Then chanting the name is sufficient to rescue a living being from all sinful reactions. So Prabhupada says that such a person who chants the holy name of the Lord offenselessly is very important and worshipable. And then he quotes Jiva Goswami, how Kirtan is the most important, and even all other Navida, like Archana doing, you should follow, it should be done with Kirtanam only. So Namabhas chanting, this is the glory of Namabhas chanting, that you become free from all. Namabhas hote Sarva Papa Shaya. That is what Haridas Thakur will say in the discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the glory of the holy name. This is the glory of the holy name. And this will come later on. I will take this later on. So one should have the clear understanding of Nama Tattva. And this statement I don't believe. What is given is not right. When you have this kind of a doubt, then it's a kind of an offense. So we have to go and ask our superiors and get the right understanding. So this is one story which is mentioned to mention how Shastra minimum happens. Vedadi Shastra Sarvatroya Hari Namera Mahatmaya Kirtita Ayache Yatha. Throughout the Vedas and other scriptures, the glory of the holy name of Lord Hari has been declared. For instance, Yatha. So where is it declared? It will come up. Now, it's very important. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mentions here, there's a footnote. Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur remark on the fourth offense in his Madhurya Padamni is interesting. He gives a very interesting comment about the fourth offense. One might offend those Vedic scriptures that establish karma and jnana, but not bhakti by saying, these scriptures don't touch Bhagavad Bhakti. Indeed, they are averse to Bhagavad Bhakti and they are condemned. So this is how we began our discussion. Because we are practicing bhakti, we think that those portions which describe karma kanda or the jnana kanda They don't touch about bhakti, so they are condemned. So that's how we do Shastra Nindanam. But if one again appreciates those Vedic scriptures and those who carry out those injunctions along with loud chanting of the holy names, one can be delivered from the fourth offense in the form of criticism of Vedic scriptures. Not only one should appreciate those Vedic scriptures and those who carry out those injunctions. And if you criticize those who are carrying those injunctions, then you're indirectly criticizing those Vedic scriptures. So you should be very careful. Once I remember many years back, it's 2005, we had gone to South India Yatra and we were in Sri Rangam in the queue, waiting for the darshan of Ranganath. And there was some set of devotees who were from some other sampradaya, and they practice a kind of austerity for 4 months, and walking barefoot, cooking their own food, and they go to all these holy places. So they had also come to take darshan of Ranganath. And one of the devotees who was in the queue was chanting. He started criticizing, oh, these people only perform 4 months austerity and they engage in sense gratification again. So immediately a very senior devotee immediately rectified him. At least they are following certain injunction of the Vedas. That you should appreciate, he said. So this is very important that in a subtle way, indirectly we can criticize those who are following the karma kanda and then criticize actually the shastras. Because those basic scriptures endeavor to elevate those ineligible for Bhagavad Bhakti, the whimsical souls extremely blinded by attachment to sense enjoyment, to acceptance of Vedic authority, they are supremely compassionate upon the conditioned souls. So the Vedas are like million mothers, and those who are attached to sense gratification, but they are ready to follow the Vedic authority. They are, Prabhupada says, they are in the house of the Vedas. It's like, this citizen who's out of the kingdom, he's back in the kingdom. He might be worshipping the ministers for material benefits, but ultimately the ministers are appointed by the king. So slowly, he will one day come to the king. So that's why there is a master plan of how to gradually elevate the souls from the field of sense gratification to the field of Krishna consciousness. So that's why they are trying to elevate them. And if you criticize them, it is criticism of the Vedas. Only if one is fortunate enough to be enlightened by those aware of the intentions of the Vedic scriptures, can he be rescued from the fourth offense. So only one is enlightened by those who are aware of the purpose of the Vedas, then we can be rescued from this fourth offense. So what the Vedas, all the Vedas are discussing, this is the point, footnote, there is all throughout the Vedas and other scriptures, there is only the glory of Hari discussed. And the quotation, we did not go into it now. Now we are going to go into it. So anyone knows the quotation? Which is the quotation Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to give? What scriptural quotation he is going to quote? That throughout the Vedas, only the glory of Hari is being spoken. Anyone can guess what is that scriptural quotation? Okay. Vede Ramayana Chaiva Purane Bharate Chata Adavante Cha Madhye Cha Hari Sarvatra Diyate. Throughout the Vedas and everywhere in the Ramayana, Puranas and Mahabharata, from the beginning to the middle to the end, the praises of Lord Hari are sung. Now, again, there is a footnote. It's a very important footnote. Kindly hear this. This is quoted in Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu's Tattva Sandarbha. The same point is made by the Supreme Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita. Vedesha Sarver Aham Neva Vedya. By all Vedas, I am known. How is the Supreme Lord Krishna glorified in all the scriptures? This will be a question which might be asked. How in the Karma Kanda portion, it's Hari's glories are spread. Acharya Baldev Vidyabhushan explains in his Bhagavad Gita commentary. Tatra Karma Kandena Paramparaya Jnana Kandena to Sakshat Iti Bodhyam. It should be understood that he is glorified in the Karma Kanda section indirectly, and in the Jnana Kanda section directly. Sakshat Iti Bodhyam. So indirectly he is glorified in the Karma Kanda, directly in the Jnana Kanda. Evam Vida Sat Shastra Ninda Karile Hari Name Ki Rupa Rati Hove. If one blasphemes such authentic scriptures, such Shastra, how can one attain attachment to Lord Hari's name? Okay, this is an interesting footnote. What to speak of finding fault with the Vedic scriptures? Even a slight conversation with those who criticize the Vedas is extremely detrimental. Even a slight conversation, and today, especially, there are, sometimes in huge conferences, there is, heavy criticism going about the Vedas, and there is interpretation done. There are certain sects, or certain cults which, do that. Even if you converse or you sit in that assembly and hear criticism of Vedas, it's extremely detrimental. And let's see what it is. Srila Jiva Goswami notes in Bhakti Sandarbha 153. It is stated in Vishnu Puran 318 that a king named Shatadhanu, though fixed up in the worship of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, attained birth in a body of a dog, and so on, simply because of slightly conversing with the blasphemer of the Vedas and Vaishnavas. We learn from the Vishnu Puran that King Shatadhanu had slightly conversed with an elderly acquaintance of his who happened to be a Pashandi, a blasphemer of the Vedas and Vaishnavas. But because of this offense, he took his next birth as a dog, then as a jackal, then as a wolf, then as a vulture, then as a crow, then as a crane, and then as a peacock. Therefore, Sri Vishnu Puran instruct Tasmat Pashandyadivi Paper Alapasparshina Teje. Therefore, one should give up talking with and touching sinful blasphemers of Vedic scriptures. One who disbelieves in any part of the Vedic scriptures, considers them invalid, is called a blasphemer of Vedic scriptures. He's called as a Pashandi. He's called as a Pashandi. Now, that completes the discussion on the fourth offense, but I would like to little bit go to Sri Harinam Chintamani and mention about this offense, and then I will take up questions. In the Harinam Chintamani, Sat Shastra Nindam, Shruti Shastra Nindam is an entire topic criticizing the Vedic scriptures. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there also remedy, which we have already discussed, he goes a little deeper. If one foolishly blasphemes the Vedic scriptures, then one should repent, feel remorse, and again offer obeisances to Vedic scriptures. Offering flowers and tulsi, one should then regularly worship the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedas with great care. With great care. Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of all Vedic literatures. It is an incarnation of Lord Krishna himself. It will certainly bestow mercy without limit. Karuna Pars. So this is the remedy. He says that we should be repentful, remorseful, and offer obeisances to the Vedic scriptures. So that's also the remedy part. Okay. Now, again, any questions on the fourth offense? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandasana. Prabhu, sometimes we blaspheme Mayavadis. Even many places they are criticized. So, does it fall in category of Shastra?
Blasphemy of Mayavadis.
Yes.
What kind of blasphemy do you do? Let us.
No, even we hear one statement, Mayavadi Krishna Pradhi. And even in our, day-to-day discussions also, generally we, towards Mayavadi, we have a different set of opinion. Oh, they are, disgusted fellow or something like that. They are, we don't have right attitude towards them.
Yes, that is the point. I want that you bring out this point. Now, firstly, we have to remember that there is some disturbance at your end. Firstly, we should remember that there are these Shad Darshans, Nyaya, Vaishishika, Sankhya, and Yoga. There is a Purva Mimamsa and the Uttar Mimamsa. Uttar Mimamsa is called as the Vedanta Darshan. Within the Vedanta Darshan, there is one extreme, the Advaita, Shankaracharya's philosophy. It's not Shankaracharya who is one of the systematizers or propagators of Mayavad Darshan. Mayavad Darshan is there since the beginning of creation. Please remember that. And the other extreme is Advaita. Now, within the Vedanta Darshan, there is, the four Sampradayas. And then there is one Sampradaya which is called as the Shankar Sampradaya, which, has the Advaita Darshan. Now, our attitude should be that, although the Mayavadis may, study the Mayavad Shastra and they might, propagate it or they follow it, but we should be respectful to them. We should never disrespect them because ultimately they are also following one of the Vedanta Darshan, that is the Advaita Darshan, which is coming in the Vedanta Darshan or the Prasthanatara. Please remember that. And we should never, associate with them, nor hear their philosophy. So we don't have that level of purity to go and refute that philosophy and convert them. So that's why we should be very, very careful. Only great, powerful acharyas can do that. So, he's also a sadhu, but we should be keep distance and from distance respect them. And one should not forget, one should never disrespect any living being also. So that's the point. Any other questions regarding the fourth offense? Yes, there are two more questions, three more questions. Okay. Ms. Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dhanat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we were talking about Karma Kanda also, that we should not oppose or we should not blaspheme Karma Kandis. So how to justify this statement, Karma Kanda Vishera Bhanda?
Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Vishera Bhanda. Now, this is for Adhikari who is practicing bhakti. One who has Adhikar to practice bhakti, he should not, fall in the trap of Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. He should not fall in the trap of that. But those who have Adhikar to practice Karma Kanda, you cannot tell them to practice bhakti because they don't have Adhikar. And then you criticize, oh, this Karma Kanda is Vishera Bhanda, but he has Adhikar for that. And what he has Adhikar, if you heavily preach about it and discourage him, he will neither be situated in karma kanda, and if he loses faith, he'll go back and become a materialist. So he has faith in that, and slowly his faith has to get elevated. So you do a disservice then to him. But for devotees, they should not, uh, follow those portions of the karma kanda or the jnana kanda. Now, please remember, actually, it's a misconception, like, especially now, within the ISKCON community, there's a need felt to implement the Garbhadhan samskars. I'm just taking this example because this is very important. Because Prabhupada, as an emergency, when he established, he said, you just chant 64 rounds. And, he just told that as an emergency. But if you refer the Bhaktivedanta purports, in the Bhagavatam, many places Prabhupada speaks about, implementing, the Varnashram principles. So these Varnashram principles are part of the karma kanda portion of the Vedas. But we take these portions of the Vedas which are favorable for pure devotional service. Which are favorable. So we have to refer to those scriptures. Because all these rules and regulations about, all the vidhis have been given. And now Gopal Bhatta Goswami also has written how these Kriti Shastras, which speak about the purification required right from, impregnating the seed till the death purification, he has given the Vaishnava Vidhi. So, in one sense, we think, oh, this is, not meant for us. But are we qualified? We are on the transcendental platform where we are practicing Srimad Bhakti. So that's why, there are other organizations who have been following these scriptures and, they are being able to, have offsprings which are having that culture, or maybe they are not Krishna conscious devotees, but they're having that culture, that samskars they are having. But we are seeing that in ISKCON, many parents, they see that their children are not having the samskars, although they are being brought up in Krishna conscious environment. So that's why we need to have a very balanced approach towards these, things. It requires a, one who is a Shastragya to understand all this and, bring out the essence. I just elaborated a little more apart from the answer to make certain points clear. I hope this is clear to you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay, there was 2 more hands raised. I don't remember. Nityananda Priya Prabhu had raised his hand. Yes, please. I unmuted him. Okay, no. Any other questions? Somebody else also had raised his hand. Questions are answered. Okay, so now let's take the next offense. Aneke mane parena ye Vedadi Shastra Harinamera ye Mahatmya Kirtita Hayache Taha Namera Prashamsa Matra. Many think, Aneka mane, that the glory of Lord Hari's holy name, Hari Namere Mahatme, that has been described in the Vedas, Vedadi Shastra Kirtita, and other scriptures are mere exaggerated praise of the holy name. Taha Namera Prashamsa Matra. It's just an exaggeration. That's it. Nothing else. Yahadera e rupi buddhi. Tahara nama pradi. One who has such a conception are offenders to the holy name. Tahare hari name faluday hoy now. Their chanting of the holy name is not successful. So this classically comes out, in the Haridas Thakur's, when he describes the glories of the holy name in that assembly of Govardhan Majumdar and Hiranyan Majumdar. And there was Gopal Chapal, who was a Brahmana, who was a follower of Vedas. And, Haridas Thakur said, what to speak about name? mere chanting of Namabhas, one gets liberation. Gopal Chappal, because he did not know the glories of bhakti, glories of name, he said, the Jnanis for many, many lifetimes, they take the sannyas order of life and perform extreme austerities. And after many, many lifetimes, they get liberation. And you're telling just by taking the name and that too, reflection of the name, one will get liberated. This is just exaggeration, praise. So that's how he committed that offense. So if we have such a conception, then we are offenders to the holy name. I was mentioning that verse, Eka Krishna Name, Sarva Papa Shaya. Now, there is a footnote. The goal of chanting the holy name is to attain pure love of Krishna. The Lord has clearly instructed us about that through Shikshashtaka 6. Nayanam Galadashrudaraya Vadanam Gadgadarudaya Gira Ulker Nichitam Vapu Kada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati. My dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy names? When will my voice falter and all the hairs on my body stand erect in transcendental happiness as I chant your holy names? He also taught Sri Sanatana Goswami, Niraprade Namaloy Papa Paye Premadhan. If one always chants the holy name of the Lord, avoiding the 10 kind of offenses, one very easily obtains most valuable love of Godhead. So, this is the phala of chanting. You look at Krishna Prem. So we don't believe in it. That's the problem. Anya Anya Karma Kande E Rupi Ruchi Utpadanera Janya Phala Shruti Pateta Ayache. Hari Namera Phala Shruti Ke Yahara Tad Rupe Mane Karena Tahara Atishay Durbhagya. Extremely unfortunate. Atishay Durbhagya are those who think that the scriptural statements promising the results of chanting Lord Hari's holy name to be like scriptural statements promising the results of engaging in activities described in the multiple karma kanda scriptures in order to generate a taste for such activities. So in the karma kanda scriptures, there are phala mentioned that if we do. So that is meant for them to, develop some taste for such activities. Maybe similarly, the phala of Harinam is also meant for that. When we think like that, then we commit this offense. The point is this. The Vedic scriptures deal with various levels of its faithful followers. Most of the faithful followers of the Vedas are interested in dharma, artha, kama, and so most of the Vedic scriptures promote the process of karma and the attainment of dharma, artha, kama, the result of karma, as the greatest possible attainment, which is true for this audience. Some of the higher Vedic scriptures aim at a more mature audience interested not in dharma, artha, kama, but in moksha. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarina. Krishna is also telling Arjuna. Nirdvando Nitya Sattvasto, Nir Yoga Kshema, Atmavan. Become an Atmaman. Try to realize the self. So 95% of the Vedic scriptures deal with dharma, artha, kama. So some scriptures promote the process of jnana and the attainment of moksha, the result of jnana, as the greatest possible achievement, which is true for this audience. A few scriptures such as the Srimad Bhagavatam deal with an audience that is superior to even the jnana crowd, promoting the process of bhakti and the attainment of Bhagavad Prem, the result of bhakti, as the greatest possible achievement, which is true for this audience. Now, where is the problem then? Why do these scriptures all glorify their respective methods and goals as the highest? The karma kanda proportion, highest is Swarga. The Jnana Kanda, Mukti. And the Bhakti Kanda, Krishna Prem. So these respective methods, there are respective goals as the highest. How is it? This is explained by Thakur Thakur Bhakti Vinod in his introduction to Rasik Ranjan commentary in the Bhagavad Gita. All those scriptures which have concluded that karma or jnana are the final goal of human life grant auspiciousness to persons eligible for dharma and jnana respectively. In order to generate faith in karma or jnana, such scriptures don't indicate karma or jnana to be the supreme achievement. If in order to generate faith in karma or jnana, such scriptures don't indicate karma or jnana to be the supreme achievement, there is a possibility that a person fit for one would take up a process that he's not fit for, and that would lead to his inauspiciousness. Now, anyone can point out the classic example of this, that somebody who is fit for karma doesn't take up karma and he wants to take up jnana, and that will lead to inauspiciousness, which is the classic scriptural example of this. Anyone knows? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. I did not hint which scripture it is. Okay, Lakshmi Narasimhan Guruji.
I'm not sure, Prabhuji. Is it Bhishma Dev?
This is Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. He wants to, leave this battle of a Kshatriya. He has to do his karma according to Kshatriya, and he wants to take up Gyan. He wants to take sannyas. So Krishna in the first 6 chapters is recommending that you have adhikar for karma. You don't have adhikar for Gyan. So that is all the teaching in the first 6 chapters. Of course, he'll bring out that, by my mercy, I'm giving you adhikar for bhakti, but for pure bhakti, and then sarva dharma kartaji comes. So Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, if he, even if he renounces and he's in the Himalayas and he goes for begging, and somebody, hurls heavy words on him, he will take his Kshatriya sword and he will immediately cut him. So he will kill him. So he'll commit a grievous sin. So Kshatriyas are not supposed to take sannyas. They can go on only up till Vanaprastha. So that's why it will lead to inauspiciousness. So that's why in order to generate faith, such pictures, they do that. Considering this, the Karma Shastra state that karma is the supreme process for those fit for karma. And the Jnana Shastra state that jnana is the supreme process for those who are fit for jnana. In this context, if one raises the question, then how can we factually understand the true intention of the Veda, regardless of the fitness of the candidate? We should look to clues within the Vedic scripture themselves on where the true intention of the Veda is presented. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada presents excellent arguments in the first half of his Tattva Sandarbha with relevant references from the Vedic scripture themselves on how indeed there is a hierarchy of Vedic scriptures that solves this issue once for all, and that hierarchy culminates in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which presents the true without any beneficial deception to all, dharma projita kaitavo atra parama. So the highest intention of the Vedas is presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not dharma artha kama, it's all kaitava. The highest dharma is prema pumarto mahan. Therefore, having understood the factual teachings of the entire body of the Vedic knowledge, one should not consider those teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam scattered in other Vedic scriptures to be presenting such exaggerations in order to generate faith in the believer for his own goal. In other words, we should consider the Srimad Bhagavatam as the ultimate illuminator on any Vedic teaching. So we'll have to see from the Srimad Bhagavatam perspective everything. And then all the contradictions also get resolved. The chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna is factually as effective as it is asserted to be in the Bhagavatam or in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, as we mentioned. There is not even the slightest exaggeration in the Bhagavatam's description of the glories of the chanting of the holy name. So even when we heard the Eka Krishna Nama, Sarva Papa Shaya, there is no exaggeration in it. We should have full faith in it. How is it, Papa Shaya? My Papa Shaya has not happened. Maybe it is just an exaggeration. When we think like that, we commit this offense. Therefore, to consider the scripture description of the glories of chanting the holy names of Krishna to be similar to the exaggerated glorification found in the Karma Shastra or the Jnana Shastras is a great offense to the holy name. Okay. So I wanted to take another example to explain this. Yes. So this is that. Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Koti Ashwamedha Eka Krishna Nama Sama Eka He Se Pashandi Dande Tare Yama. Kaviraj Goswami is saying, one who says that 10 million Ashwamedha sacrifices is equal to the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna is undoubtedly an atheist. So to compare the Koti Ashwamedha to one Krishna Nama, is an atheist. He is sure to be punished by Anuraj. So, this is exaggeration. This is too much. How can you compare, one Ashwamedha, here it is said Koti Ashwamedha. And again here Nam means Shuddha Nam. So we don't know what is the rasa in Shuddha Nam. And Rupa Goswami is saying, let me get millions of tongues and millions of years to taste that nectar of the holy name. So the Jadananda, the happiness of heavenly pleasure, and the Brahmananda, the happiness of being merged in Brahman, that bliss is spiritual, please remember Brahmananda. That cannot be compared to the Premananda or the chanting of the holy names. Because, even if one is absorbed in the bliss of Brahmananda for half the life of Brahma, and what is the half life of Brahma? Still that is compared to a drop. Brahmananda is compared to a drop. So, trying to equate this, Koti Ashwamedha to one Krishna, he's a Pashandi and he'll be punished. So that's how we should understand that these glories of the holy name are not exaggeration. I hope the point is very, very clear. Any questions on this fifth offense? Any questions, any clarifications? There is one hand raised. Just a minute. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, how to elaborate on this statement?
Koti Ashwamedha Yajna.
Yes, how to explain this?
Yes, I explained it. Like when Rupa Goswami is saying that when I chant the two syllables Krishna, I desire millions of tongues and I desire millions of years. So one who has, one who is situated in rasa, the rasa I was explaining in the Nama Tattva, I gave some hint, of a flower like a beautiful Mallika flower. The gandha of the Mallika flower is so intoxicating, so much nectar is there in the form of the gandha, and that is coming from earth. And Krishna is saying Punyo Gandha. Punyo Gandha, that gandha is actually Aham, it is me. So from earth, such a fragrance is emanating, and this is so intoxicating. And earth is just a tiny speck in this Brahmanda. and there are millions of Brahmandas. So what must be the fragrance coming from the Lord's body? Can you conceive it? How much intoxicating it must be. So how much intoxicating is the holy name then? So this is where, we can, it's beyond our logic, but some idea we can get. So similarly, yes, you cannot compare Koti Ashwamedha Yagya, uh, to, one name. One name, you cannot compare. That's how we should understand it. I hope it is clear. Yes, any other questions about this fifth offense? So I just wanted to see if something in Harinam Chintamani is there. Yes, in Harinam Chintamani, the remedy for this offense of Arthavad, he says, yeah, I'm just sharing that screen. He said, if one commits the offense of thinking the glories of holy name, imagination, one should, placing a blade of grass between his teeth, enter the assembly of Vaishnavas. Assembly of Vaishnavas means an assembly of Vaishnavas who discuss topic about Lord Krishna. That is assembly. And staying at the Vaishnava's feet, one should explain his offense with a sincere heart, and with plaintive words, one should beg forgiveness. So what offense he has committed, he should speak, and then he should beg forgiveness. Then the devotees who well know the glories of the holy name will forgive the offender and mercifully embrace him. Therefore, one should never commit the offense of thinking the glories of the holy name imagination or giving an imagination interpretation to the holy name. That offense is Maya's trick. If one somehow converses with a person who thinks the holy name glories are imagination, one should at once jump into the Ganga with all his clothes. It is not right to even look at the face of a person who thinks the holy name glories are imagination. If one somehow converses with such a person, one should still wearing his clothes, bathe in the Ganga. That is the right thing to do. If Ganga is not nearby, one should still wearing his clothes, bathe in other pure water. If that is not possible, one should meditate on bathing. In this way, one will be purified. And we saw the severity of the Purana story, Vishnu Puran story of King Shatadhanu. He just conversed with the Pashandi, one of his apprentices, and this is the result he attained. So here also there is no, it is clearly established here by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So then he takes shelter of the holy name and ends this chapter. So yes, one should have this attitude, and that's why not criticize, when one says that this is exaggeration or this is all imagination, then it is an offense. Now I would give you a very interesting insight. You know that initially the hippies, who were all drug addicts, joined the Hare Krishna movement. And one of such persons asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the bliss of being in Vaikuntha? And Srila Prabhupada said, it's like taking 1,000 LSDs at the same time. You get intoxicated. No? That's an intoxication in Vaikuntha. That's an intoxication in the holy name also said. So is it that Srila Prabhupada was, giving an imagination or interpretation to the holy name? No. Prabhupada was trying to relate to him something which he has, experience. Because he cannot give experience about, Rupa Goswami's experience. Because Rupa Goswami is experiencing that. And they were very new. But he had experience of getting high on drug. And kind of a bliss, so called it is. It's a hallucination, in fact. So Prabhupada gave something which he can relate, so that he is inspired to take up the spiritual path. So it was not an interpretation by Prabhupada. So that also we should be very, very careful and have a clear understanding of that. Okay, so we have finished discussing two more offenses. Tomorrow we will discuss two more offenses, and there is one exercise, the third exercise, which is a practical exercise on chanting the holy names, so that we are free from this mentality of interpreting the holy names or committing sinful activity on the strength of the holy name. So based on these two, I have inserted one more exercise that we will also discuss tomorrow. So any questions, any clarifications? Anyone has? Okay. So tomorrow we will discuss the sixth and the seventh offense. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Shri Hari Nam ki Jai. Hari Bol.